Luke's Gospel, chapter 9. Jesus called the 12 disciples together and gave them power and authority to drive out all demons and to cure diseases. Then he sent them out to preach the kingdom of God and to heal the sick, after saying to them, "Take nothing with you for the journey, no stick, no beggar's bag, no food, no money, not even an extra shirt. Wherever you are welcomed, stay in the same house until you leave that town. Wherever people don't welcome you, leave that town and shake the dust off your feet as a warning to them." The disciples left and travelled through all the villages, preaching the good news and healing people everywhere. When Herod, the ruler of Galilee, heard about these things that were happening, he was very confused, because some people were saying that John the Baptist had come back to life. Others were saying that Elijah had appeared, and still others that one of the prophets of long ago had come back to life. Herod said, "I had John's head cut off, but who is this man I hear these things about?" And he kept trying to see Jesus. He took them with him, and they went off by themselves to a town called Bethsaida. When the crowds heard about this, they followed him. He welcomed them, spoke to them about the kingdom of God, and healed those who needed it. When the sun was beginning to set, the 12 disciples came to him and said, "Send the people away so that they can go to the villages and farms around here and find food and lodging, because this is a lonely place." But Jesus said to them, "You yourselves give them something to eat." They answered, "But all we have are 5 loaves and 2 fish. Do you want us to go and buy food for this whole crowd?" Because there were about 5,000 men there. Jesus said to the disciples, "Make the people sit down in groups of about 50 each." After the disciples had done so, Jesus took the 5 loaves and 2 fish, looked up to heaven, thanked God for them, broke them, and gave them to the disciples to distribute to the people. They all ate and had enough, and the disciples took up 12 baskets of what was left over. One day, when Jesus was praying alone, the disciples came to him. "Who do the crowds say I am?" he asked them. "Well, some say you are John the Baptist," they answered. "Others say that you are Elijah, while others say that one of the prophets from long ago has come back to life." "What about you?" he asked. "Who do you say I am?" And Peter answered, "You are God's Messiah." Then Jesus gave strict orders not to tell this to anyone. He also said to them, "The Son of Man must suffer much and be rejected by the elders, the chief priests, and the teachers of the law. He will be put to death, but 3 days later he will be raised to life." And he said to them all, "Look, anyone who wants to come with me must forget self, take up their cross every day and follow me. For whoever wants to save his own life will lose it. But whoever loses their life for my sake will save it." Will people gain anything if they win the whole world but are themselves lost or defeated? Of course not. If people are ashamed of me and of my teaching, then the Son of Man will be ashamed of them when he comes in his glory and in the glory of the Father and of the holy angels. I assure you, there are some here today who will not die until they have seen the kingdom of God. About a week after he had said these things, Jesus took Peter, John and James and went up a hill to pray. While he was praying, his face changed its appearance and his clothes became dazzling white. Suddenly, 2 men were there, talking with him. It was Moses, it was Elijah, who appeared in heavenly glory and talked with Jesus about the way in which he would soon fulfill God's purpose by dying in Jerusalem. Peter and his companions were sound asleep, but they woke up and saw Jesus' glory and the two men there standing with him. As the men were leaving Jesus, Peter said to him, "Master, how good it is that we are here. We will make 3 tents, one for you, one for Moses, one for Elijah." He didn't really know what he was saying. While he was still speaking, a cloud appeared and covered them with its shadow, and the disciples were afraid as the cloud came over them. A voice said from the cloud, "This is my son, whom I have chosen. Listen to him." When the voice stopped, there was Jesus, all alone. The disciples kept quiet about all this and told no one at the time anything they had seen. The next day, Jesus and the 3 disciples went down from the hill, and a large crowd met Jesus. A man shouted from the crowd, "Teacher, I beg you, look at my son, my only son. A spirit attacks him with a sudden shout and throws him into a fit so that he foams at the mouth. It keeps on hurting him and will hardly let him go. I begged your disciples to drive it out, but they couldn't." Jesus answered, "How unbelieving and wrong you people are. How long must I stay with you? How long do I have to put up with you? Bring your son here." As the boy was coming, the demon knocked him to the ground and threw him into a fit. Jesus gave a command to the evil spirit, healed the boy, and gave him back to his father. All the people were amazed at the mighty power of God. The people were still marvelling at everything Jesus was doing when he said to his disciples, "Now don't forget what I'm about to tell you. The Son of Man is going to be handed over to the power of human beings." His disciples didn't know what he meant. It was hidden from them, so they couldn't understand it. And actually they were a wee bit afraid to ask. An argument broke out amongst the disciples as to which one of them was the greatest. Jesus knew what they were thinking, so he took a child, stood him by his side and said to them, "Whoever welcomes this child in my name welcomes me. Whoever welcomes me also welcomes the one who sent me. For the one who is least among you is the greatest." John spoke up. "Master, we saw a man driving out demons in your name, and we told him to stop because he doesn't belong to our group." "Oh, don't try to stop him," Jesus said to the others, "but because whoever is not against you is for you." As the time drew near when Jesus was to be taken up to heaven, he made up his mind and set out on his way to Jerusalem. He sent messengers ahead of him who went into a village in Samaria to get everything ready for him. But the people there would not receive him because it was clear that he was on his way to Jerusalem. When the disciples, James and John, saw this, they said, "Lord, do you want us to call down fire from heaven and destroy them?" Jesus turned and rebuked them. Then Jesus and his disciples went to another village. As they were on their way, a man said to Jesus, "I will follow you wherever you go." Jesus said to him, "Well, foxes and holes and birds have nests, but the Son of Man's nowhere to lie down and rest." He said to another man, "Follow me." But the man said, "Sir, let me first go back and bury my father." And Jesus answered, No, let the dead bury their own dead. You go and proclaim the kingdom of God." Someone else said, "I will follow you, sir, but first let me go and say goodbye to my family." And Jesus said to him, "Anyone who starts to plough and then looks back is no use to the kingdom of God."